Assalamu alaikum to everyone. Everyone outside, I don't know if they can hear, they should come back in because we're running up against the clock a little bit. Just want to remind everyone who's online that inshallah we have a bunch of programs in Ramadan. Every Saturday, for those who inshallah will come for the iftar program, there will be a speaker just before the program starts. And every Sunday we'll have a virtual program at 4:45. So just look out for that. It'll be on our YouTube channel as well as Facebook. 4:45 will be virtual on Sunday, and Saturday will be in person. We're also going to have some program with Boston Islamic Seminary, as we were mentioning earlier, inshallah. We'll also have a Qiyamul Layl in the last 10 days. So just keep an eye on your email. You'll be getting a lot of this programming coming your way very soon. So please continue to work with us as Ramadan comes up. Jazakallah khair. Dr. Suheil.
Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. So, inshallah, I'll just make a few more comments and then we can open for questions. So, reminder about suhoor, right? To eat before Fajr. This makes it easier to do the fast, and the Prophet ﷺ has encouraged the suhoor, تسحروا فإن في السحور بركة, فإن في السحور بركة, that eat suhoor because there is blessing in it. Even if you have just a few dates, نعمة سحور المسلم التمر, right? Dates are a good suhoor, according to the hadith. And even if you don't feel like eating, I know some people don't feel at all like eating, just leave a glass of water by your bed and drink the water. There's another hadith that do suhoor even if it is just a gulp of water. Let's see what else. As we said, at least this year the fasts are quite short, so it is not really a problem to get through the day without eating or drinking. So we should give more attention to the other dimension of fasting, which is to stay away from sins. This is the hard part, right? Not eating or drinking is easy, but the deeper dimension of fasting is to also avoid sins, all sins. And if we do this during Ramadan, that way it should be easier once Ramadan is over to not go back to some of those sins. And finally, we talked about making a plan from now for Ramadan. What would you do? Would you take a nap after Fajr or go directly to work? Everyone has different circumstances, but the point is you need to plan your day if you want to get the most out of this Ramadan. So from Suhoor and Fajr all the way up to Isha and Taraweeh and Tahajjud. So set goals, make a plan, but be realistic in your plans. So I think for most of us, it would not be realistic to say that, all right, this Ramadan, I'm going to perform 1 hour of tahajjud every night during the entire Ramadan. Right? There might be some people who can do it, but I think most of us cannot do that. So instead of that, for example, you could say, all right, I will do 5 minutes of tahajjud once a week for the first week. Then maybe in the second week, I will do 2 days, or maybe increase from 5 minutes to 10 minutes. And then in the last 10 nights, I will try to do tahajjud every night, even if it is just a few minutes. Okay, so be realistic in your goals, but you should push yourself a little bit. Don't set your goals to be things you're already doing. Because as we said in Ramadan, you should be making extra effort. You should be going above and beyond. Even at the expense of watching TV or browsing the internet or what else? TikTok, WhatsApp, all these other things, you can cut back on your time for that. Actually, who has that app installed or that feature which monitors your daily time, which you spend on the phone? Who has that? Okay. So I won't ask you, but I can guarantee that for most people, it will be several hours per day. Right. Before I installed this app, I was guessing that it was about 2 hours because I listened to the news for at least half an hour every day, sometimes longer, and other things. So I had guessed about 2 hours, but it was a bit more than that. Okay, how long does it take to recite one juz? 1 hour if you recite slowly. Some people can do it in 40 minutes, even 13 minutes. Actually, one of my teachers with whom I memorized the last 10 juz of the Quran, he would sit in the masjid every day, Ramadan or not. After Asr, he would recite 3 juz. Any guesses as to how long it would take him? 30 minutes. All right, so some people can recite really fast, and actually, particularly for those who have memorized, some people need to actually recite a large portion every day in order to avoid forgetting. But ideally, you should not recite that fast unless it is for that purpose, to review, to avoid forgetting. But yeah, I think if you spend 5 hours, alhamdulillah, mine isn't not close, not even close to 5 hours per day, but if I think for many people, they spend 5, 8, 10 hours potentially on the phone, especially on weekends. So if you cut back 1 hour from that, even 30 minutes, and devote that to reciting Quran instead. Of course, you can combine both. If you have Quran app, then you recite the Quran from your phone. What are the things? Of course, don't miss the Salah, the Fard Salah. pray the prayers on time, try to do some daily dua and dhikr on a regular basis. Even if you're not doing that outside of Ramadan, make a special effort in Ramadan. And we talked already about zakat. So I'll stop here. Anyone has questions, comments, suggestions for things that help you in Ramadan? Yeah. Salam.
Sheikh, how to make Ramadan productive for the children who might be going to school?
How to make Ramadan productive. Yes, so I think you should encourage school children to take a nap after they come back from school. Because unless you go to an Islamic school, which have a delayed start during Ramadan, many of our children leave early. My son, for example, leaves, his bus comes about 6:45. So there isn't much time to sleep after Fajr. So you should encourage them to take a nap after Fajr. You should look for halal means of entertainment or distraction to take their mind off the food if they are old enough to fast. The Sahaba used to make toys and give them to their children in Ramadan to take their minds off the hunger. Also, it would be good to maybe have a halaqa, private halaqa in the house, where you either read Quran, you could do this even 10, 15 minutes before iftar, you sit down, you recite Quran, you could even make dua together, you could do some dhikr, you could read some hadith or from an Islamic book. Yeah, and you should be tough on yourself, but easier on the children.
Talk a little bit about the Quran recitation, that the speed versus pondering. So speed is something that's recommended perhaps for someone who has memorized or just reviewing, or does the speed matter?
Yes, in general, it is preferred not to recite too fast. It is recommended also to ponder and reflect on the meaning. If you understand Arabic, of course, you can do both at the same time. While the Imam is reciting, you are thinking about the meaning. If you don't understand Arabic, then you can do the meaning part and the pondering part separately, either by reading a translation. So yeah, you should set a goal of completing the entire Quran at least once during Ramadan, whether you recite it all yourself or it is a combination, you recite some and listen to some Taraweeh, or if it is difficult for you to recite, then you listen to the entire Quran in Taraweeh. But even then, you should try to recite a few ayat on your own. If you cannot recite Arabic, you cannot read Arabic, then you should still read translation on your own. And then translation is only the start. ideally, you want to go deeper. So you could, for example, once a week on the weekend, get together with some friends and a few friends or a few families and have a Quranic halaqa where you start by everyone recite some Quran and then you discuss the meaning and or you you watch a YouTube lecture about explaining some verses of the Quran and so on. Yes.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Just had two quick questions. So one, it's a smaller one. You had said be tough on yourself and easier on children. And I just remember I hear that phrase a lot and it's often in different variations. And I was wondering if it was attributed to someone or is this just kind of a general saying people say?
I'm not aware of it being attributed to anyone. Actually, I think more commonly they say be easy on yourself. Sorry, be tough on yourself, easy on others. But yeah, I don't know of its exact origin. And of course, there's a word of caution, but because you don't want to be too easy. You want to have some degree of strictness.
And then the quick second question is the hadith you mentioned in the very beginning. You said when Ramadan comes, the doors of Jannah are opened and the doors of hellfire are closed and the shayateen are chained. I was wondering what it actually meant to say the doors of Jannah are opened and the doors of hellfire are closed. Like, what does that really mean in the practical sense? If I may. Jazakallah khair.
Good question. Welcome. So we can understand this in a figurative way. The doors of Jannah are opened in the sense that this is a blessed month. It is a month of mercy. It is a month of forgiveness. And so it is easier for people to do the deeds which lead to Jannah. And the gates of Jahannam are closed. And as we said, and it is also the next part of the hadith that the shayateen are chained, and so it is easier to stay away from sins. And then also, for example, the deeds of Ramadan, this fasting, fasting is a shield from the hellfire, as the hadith tells us, as-siyamu junnah. So this is this is almost the same as saying the doors of Jahannam are closed. Wallahu alam. Yeah.
Alaikum Sheikh. Quick question about the shayateen being chained. And so one might question why I still inclined to do the bad things that I do otherwise outside of Ramadan, and the element of habit as well as being more accountable for yourself. So how do you explain that? Is that conditioning of the 11 months, or how do you see that that we hold ourselves accountable and not blame it on shaitan?
Oh, yes, so I think we touched on this earlier. Maybe you had stepped out, or maybe you had not arrived yet. But we said there are a number of explanations. One is that, as you said, habit. If you are already obeying shaitan 11 months, even if shaitan is chained for the 12th month, you might continue to obey him through habit. Another explanation is that according to some versions of the hadith, it is only the bigger shayateen who are chained. And another possibility is that even if they are chained, they can still influence you, but maybe the influence is not as strong. One else?
Just going back to the Fatihatul Abwab al-Jannah. Your answer only mentioned like a majazi thing. Is it haqiqah also?
Yes, it could be haqiqah. Also, it could be that the doors of Jannah are literally opened. Of course, this is in the realm of the unseen. But it is possible.
Sheikh, you had mentioned 3 types of du'as that are guaranteed to be answered. And you mentioned the dua at the beginning of fasting, and then we've heard about the dua of Yunus alayhi salam. Is that one of them? And what are the other 2 essentially that are guaranteed to be accepted?
Okay,
inshallah?
actually, there's a number of categories of people mentioned in various hadith whose dua is accepted, but this one particular hadith which mentions the fasting person, the 2 other categories in this hadith are the al-imam al-adil, the just ruler. I don't know if we have many of those today. And the other one is the oppressed person, al-madhloom. But there are other categories in different hadith. Yes.
So since Arabic is not our mother tongue, so it becomes sometimes a little bit difficult to focus in Taraweeh. So is there any tip you can give just to keep the concentration there?
Yes, so you could, if you don't understand, you could think about standing before Allah. You could think about Jannah and Jahannam, about death, about the day of judgment. You could reflect also on your past. Try to bring to mind, for example, sins you have committed and to regret that and to make the intention not to repeat them. Also, some people actually hold the mushaf or hold their phone and follow along with the imam. For some people, that helps the concentration. But this is a bit controversial among the fuqaha because according to Imam Abu Hanifa, if you do that, it invalidates the salah. But according to many other fuqaha, it is not invalidate, but even though it is not recommended, it is not invalidate. So if you feel comfortable with your conscience in doing that, and it helps you to concentrate better, you could do that. But if you're Hanafi and you're doing that, I would recommend not to do it for all the rak'ahs of the Taraweeh. You should do at least some rak'ahs where you are not holding anything. And likewise, if you're holding a mushaf, you could potentially have a mushaf with the translation, and you could follow along with the translation. Yes.
Assalamu alaikum. You talked about
that fasting is a hidden ibadah. So I was planning to talk with my colleagues about fasting who are not non-Muslims. So how to balance between, being silent or sharing with non-Muslims about fasting? Is there a suggestion, how to balance between these two?
Sure. Yeah, so it's good to share with your non-Muslim colleagues about fasting or what Ramadan is, who Allah is, right? Because that is most important. Um, um, that is fine, but that is different than kind of showing off about the fasting. And also, when you are fasting and you are working, you should not use your fast as an excuse for your bad performance. So actually, you might need to make extra effort to not fall into that. Do not use fasting as an excuse for not doing your job properly or for not putting in the required number of hours and so on. So yeah, so it's good to do the explicit dawah, to tell your colleagues about Islam and about Ramadan and so on. But probably more important than that is the implicit da'wah, which is that they see you behaving as a Muslim and they form a positive opinion of Islam based on what they see you doing.
I think we have to stop at this point. Inshallah, it's almost the time for Asr. Time for Asr prayer now, inshallah. Maybe we can all pray in Jama'ah. As we had said earlier, again, I want to thank Dr. Suheil Lahar for all the ilm that he has given us. That was an excellent, excellent session. I think we all learned a great deal from it. And I want to thank you all again for coming today. It's the end of school, so inshallah we'll pray Asr now. And again, please interact with our Ramadan page on the website. You'll see all the programs that are there. And we welcome you all to join us with the Taraweeh on Wednesday after Maghrib time, when Ramadan will roll in. The first Taraweeh is on Wednesday, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum. 8:30 on the first day. It's going to be 8:30. Isha prayer will be at 8:30 starting on Wednesday. And then after 10 days, we will move to 8:45. Yeah, but we're going to start here right at the time of the Isha prayer.